Hi, my name is Steve, and apparently I'm an autist. Now I'm finding this blogging a little bit more difficult than people seem to have with it, so if I'm going to have any chance of being natural, I'm going to roll a cigarette, so you're going to see the top of my head for a while. And hopefully this will help me ease into explaining this autism thing, because I'm afraid, I'm very afraid. Well, let's put it this way. I'm not a young man. What happened to me is I've had a bit of a life. It's been difficult and incomprehensible. And if I'm going to be honest, an awful lot of it has seemed to be me trying very, very hard not to do anything wrong. Because it seems like everything I do gets up somebody's nose. Now that, you could say, yeah, it's just got a lazy personality, Steve. Hopefully I'll unstress a bit later in this, and so you'll be able to see what I'm more normally like. Oh, this might be it, I don't bloody know. That's the problem with autism. It's not exactly... Well, I don't even know what I've got yet. This is the bloody problem. On June the 21st, I go to the doctor, having had a bit of an episode, to be perfectly honest. And it was a repeated episode that's been going on for about 20 years, of me getting really, really, really depressed. But this time, I was... Now, it's hard to relate this, but I found myself curled up on the grass at the side of the road, crying my eyes out, because I just couldn't deal with the stress of my daughter getting upset because she was lost, and she's a very new driver, and she was on her way out to get me because I'd got a... You see, it gets to be a long story. All you need to know is that I've had a lot of depression, and it's not fucking nice depression. Depression makes it so you don't even want to go and fly a quadcopter. It makes you go off sex. It's horrible. Depression is bad, bad news. You can fight it with drugs. Indeed, many of us do. I've found that the SSRI drugs are particularly insidiously dangerous. I've not been convicted for it, but the last time I took SSRI drugs, I did a bad thing to somebody who needed it, but it doesn't matter. That's not in my character normally. What I found is that they lowered the bar between thought and action, between bad thought and action. Now, as an autist, you get things wrong. You just do. I find I can't read people at all. Indeed, when I was 13, I thought that everybody else was telepathic except me. Now, I'd already been to see many shrinks because there was obviously something wrong with me. I stole as a young kid. I lied. Apparently, very badly, but completely consistently. All I know is that I was a bit... I got to see a lot of shrinks, and they didn't actually have a name for what was wrong with me. The best they ever came up with, that I heard anyway, was when I was 11, and my God, I was a little twat then, and they said that I had antisocial tendencies. What they didn't realise was that since the age of... Hang on, when the hell did that woman enter my life? 6. But it got really bad between 6 and 8. I was constantly being punished. I could do no right. They would make me spend all my spare time writing lines. I must learn to clean my teeth and that sort of stuff. And I think I was 7 when she came back with the horse crop. And she gave that to my dad, and that was supposed to be judiciously used on me, and I suppose it was fairly judicious. I mean, the thing was made of fiberglass, but like that, for, yeah, that nylon, quite advanced for its time. This is the 60s, don't forget. But it took them years to break it on me. The school used to go easy on me if I came in with the stripes on my back, yeah. But the truth is, nobody understood autism then. They just saw me as being an uncooperative, thieving, dishonest, lying little twat, which I don't know. There's a chicken and egg thing here, and I've read a bit of psychology. It may have been that what I was doing was down to the way I was being treated already. All I know is that I was confused. Really, really confused. I was looking for anything that would get me out of the confusion, because apparently I carry a high IQ. Yeah, who would have thought? So I tried Christianity. As I started reading my Bible and learning this stuff and putting up little pictures in my room, yeah, stepmom called the psychiatrist. She accused me of being a religious maniac, I think it was. And I remember sitting there at a very young age, with a very earnest, obviously much older bloke, leaning across a lovely desk at me, saying, looking me in the eye and saying, you know, you're not mad, you know. What the fuck? I was 6. I hadn't got a clue what was going on. So I just went out and got better at stealing, to be honest, because nobody ever fucking gave me anything, because they didn't like me. Well, that's not strictly true. I did get the occasional presents, and I must admit, birthday presents were brilliant until like the year 9, but my little brother came along, and also, no, my little brother came along, they bought me a football. The bastards. I mean, they might just as well bought a rack for me, a football, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I don't like football. Anyway, back to the autism, because this isn't supposed to be a long one. In fact, where's my tobacco? Ah. Right, so, I grew up not knowing my arse from my elbow. I find I badly misread things. Worse, I'm getting regularly beaten, physically, and the psychological shit was pretty immense as well. So I can only describe it, I didn't have a happy childhood. In fact, the only happiness I got was outwitting shopkeepers and people at school, and yeah, pretty much. At one point, by the time I hit 13, I was a bad thief. I mean, yeah, I would go and steal the display of chewing gum, just to display just to demonstrate my art from the hardest shop in the precinct. I never got caught. Cloak of invisibility. I don't know what it was, but I was intelligent, and you know, if I do go up against somebody, I normally. Yeah, if somebody really forces me to, and it gets serious, I normally win. I don't always like it, because sometimes winning hurts people. But yeah, if they come at you, and they come at you properly, and Chris Beckett. But all I know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't do anything really bad. But defending yourself when you're an autist and doing it well really upsets people, because they're so used to being ineffective, because I am essentially very, very ineffective, except when I get my shit together. I've been an aircraft engineer. Now, I say this with a smile on my face, because quite frankly, it turned out I was a good one. Well, good compared to most of them. There were some people who clean my clock, no problem. But it turns out that autism makes you meticulous and sort of do things properly. Well, actually, that's my family's motto: thorough. I mean, yeah, what the hell? I've got lots of beatings, and I've got some good advice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did get some good stuff. And my nan and my great aunt were brilliant people, who I'm only sad because, I mean, until I hit my mid-20s, I was a vegetable. I didn't know my arse from my elbow. When I was 13, and I finally did get caught thieving, by an improbable, not through lack of skill, naturally enough, but somebody grasped, for something else, and I had to deflect the blame, so I grasped somebody else up, who, for something he was doing, to like deflect the blame from me, because I was a nasty piece of work. And poor old Simon Vaughan, he turned round when I just busted his school pornography magazine ring. He goes, "But he's the biggest bloody thief in the school, what do you do about him?" And so they did. And what they did is they had a word with my dad, and my dad went through all my stuff, and yeah, they sort of kept, I knew something was going on, but I didn't know what, and classes were normal, but eventually I was summoned to the headmaster's office to see my dad, and he bundles me in the car and takes me back home. there's a big pile of stuff in the middle of my floor. And I look at this stuff, and I know I've nicked it all. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, sort of, well, you know, out of paper round, but I smoked. So, how did this go? Well, obviously, where did you get that from? Well, bought it, dealt with my friends, swapped it, was given it, all sorts of things. Eventually, I think I copped a plea to nicking about half of it. Some of it I think I did have a legitimate reason. But you know what I'm saying, okay? Caught, totally busted, red-handed. Evil stepmother, she wanted me out of the house. She couldn't tolerate me being in the house at this point. So I had to go and stay with my great aunt. Thank you very much again. You're always a rock in my life. And, well, then I got some proper fucking psychology, didn't I? I got the Rorschach tests and all that sort of stuff from this bloke, Dr. Crowley. I didn't like Dr. Crowley. I could tell that he could see through me like him. All I know is that essentially, for all my faults, I'm actually honest. And that's how I play it, even when I was, unless I don't. Because I mean, lying, dishonesty, cheating, stealing, they're all ways of achieving an end. Well, of course, I'm telling you this, because when I hit 13, I learned at that point, I hit the brick wall actually, because I got away with it more or less. After 2 weeks I got to come back into the house, I got some other punishment and this sort of stuff. But Dr. Crowley, he dug big style into me, and he came back and he gave my parents a report and he said, look, I've looked at this kid and he's, immature, he's very immature. I'm not surprised, all I could see in them fucking Rorschach things was like rocket plumes and real basic stuff. No knobs or demons, which is what you're supposed to see, I guess. And he said, but you are making mountains out of molehills. That was the last time I ever saw a shrink, until I volunteered myself back in, of course. But yeah, so, well, what happened to me was, around about the age of 13, I discovered that I could fix stuff. I could take a radio set. I had a vague knowledge of the Superhet radio. And I could take your radio set and I could look at it and I could find where it was broken. I never really knew how. I'd start to learn some basic stuff about soldering and stuff. Yeah, I had a soldering iron at the age of, I think it was 7. One of the few good things my evil stepmother ever did. She bought me my own soldering iron because my old man could never get around to fixing my shit. So I learned to do it myself. Which has been a recurring theme in my life. And I'll tell you what, autism, it didn't make my 20s full of love and joy and sex. I know I'm a lot more fucking do-it-yourself than I'd have liked, I can tell you that. And I'm hoping my daughter's cringing to hear this. But I digress. So, I worked out at this point that if you steal things, they're never yours. Somebody can always say, where did you get that? Yeah, I completely lacked empathy still for my victims, but I worked out that stealing didn't work at that point. I mean, I got away, I could have, but there was always a spectre of getting caught, isn't there? And it isn't your shit. So, while I was learning this, well, what taught it home to me was that I could repair things. And my local second-hand shop, who I used to pillage remorselessly, gave me a job fixing this electronic stuff. That was the end of my shoplifting, was the truth of the matter. I never shoplifted again, except very once in a while, just to keep my hand in. And I'm very sorry for anybody, after the age of 13. I didn't need it. It wasn't like I had an income stream from being able to fix stuff. I never needed to steal again, really. But from 13 until, I don't know, the absolute time I know I rejected stealing was 27. But I actually stopped at 13, and I really stopped at, I think it was in the very early 20s. It was drugs. Of course, autism, Asperger's sort of people, drugs can be a part of your life. And I was in a metalworking factory one day, and this guy walks up to me and goes, "Hello, Stephen, do you smoke pot?" And I said, "No, but I am curious." And he gave me some pot. Well, the truth of the matter is, the stuff suited me far better than drinking. If I drink, I'm dangerous. Worse, hang on, let me just tidy that up a bit. Yeah, there we go. Worse, I'm a complete arse. So, you know, I drink, and I feel ill as well. And so, yeah, drinking doesn't really work for me, but smoking pot did. I also found, when I started smoking pot, that people stopped hitting me. Yeah, because hitting me, I mean, that just went on. You know, my old man was still hitting me at the age of 18. He kind of slowed down when he had his heart attack. That was funny as fuck. Well, two things happened to him. When I was 15, he was trying to kick me out of bed, and he broke his toe on the bed frame, which was quite happy for me. And then, shortly afterwards, he had this massive chest pain while trying to get some cables out. And they said he had a heart attack, and then they said he didn't. Then they said he didn't. Yeah, I don't really know. But I do know he had about 18 months compulsory, no heavy lifting, no properly doing work. And he had to sign on. And then he discovered the joys of not working. So I don't think he had... Well, he did work, but he never did that official sort of corporate stuff again. You know, he always did it for the little people and this sort of thing. And his tax accounts were always such, because he built a massive director's loan account that he never ended up having to pay tax in his old age, and that sort of malarkey. But I don't really know. All I know that he made work work, but the reason he made work work for him is because he had the evil stepmother. And the one good thing about her is that she could do paperwork. She was good with secretary. She kept him on the rails, and she could make sure he went out with some sandwiches and this sort of stuff. Because now this thing about autism, Asperger's, ADD, I've definitely got ADD. I know I'm on the adult autism spectrum, but I don't, any more yet. And I also know that I've done an Asperger's test, and that said I was quite high. Asperger's, for fuck's sake, I hope it isn't Asperger's. I've been to the Asperger's Reddit, I've read what those people say, and Jesus Christ, it's like every mental illness you can think of is a part of Asperger's for some of them. My Christ almighty, it hasn't been that... It hasn't... Well, I don't know, I don't know if I haven't been blessed with some sort of super luck. Because actually, I'm talking of drugs, the smoking the old dope, that's known for twisting your brain. And as a kid, I tried acid, and it wasn't that bad compared to my life. This is why some people do drugs, of course, but, it's like fucking... In my case, I want to do a drugs talk, for the young people, because I've been very, very, very lucky with that. I read the right books, I took the right approach to it, and I believe that drugs have not ruined my life. The secret, of course, is not to take many. That is the golden rule to drugs. Just do it once, or even a little cluster of times. Just have the experience, learn what it does. Whether you like it or not, though, you have to stop for a year after that point. Then you can revisit the experience. Because the truth of the matter is, with drugs... No, I'll save that for later. You can tell, the attention deficit disorder. I'm going to bring this to a close because I only want to talk about my recent diagnosis of autism. Now it's affecting my life, because what I've found is that suddenly all the shit I found amazingly difficult in the past, and the people have been saying, you should be able to do that, no problem, you're a bright lad, why haven't you done this, Steve, and all that sort of stuff. There's a reason for it, and the reason is that my fucking old man got some piss poor genes off his old man and passed them down to me. And I'm not happy about this, because it means I can't... Well, I'm fairly old now. I haven't had that much opportunity, but I did manage to reproduce. But I can't go mad in my old age and spawn loads of children, because they'll all be fucked up like me. And although, I had somebody once, and he said, I really thought you had your head screwed on, Steve. Seriously? The truth of the matter is, I've read loads and loads of stuff. I've studied lots of psychology. I mean, it's easier to say, but I spend fucking hours reading this sort of stuff. I've had a lot of time on my hands because in the workplace, I say the things that people should not say. Like, who the fuck did this audit? Why don't we know where the computers are? You're the NHS. You're sticking these labels on here. There's supposed to be 1,400 computers. Yeah, there's supposed to be 1,400 computers that we can't find. Why is this? And then they just sack you straight away. Actually, if they don't, what they do is they put gay porn on your login screen, and then when you go and report it to the network bloke, but fortunately, you've turned it off straight away, you've gone and found the actual network bloke and you've made a formal report because you've worked in a computer security environment, and as it happens, that's the right thing to do for operational purposes. Go and find the network bloke, tell him what's happened, turn your computer off. I've done this, and then I get sacked for gross misconduct. It was the best performance I'd ever put in the workplace, and I've done some really good stuff. I fix airplanes, and they don't fall out of the sky, and I never leave the spanners in them, and I've only ever left the torch in once. And to be honest, it wasn't entirely my fault. The boss was rushing to get out. There was lots of people rushing to and from the airplane. It was that sort of situation. And the boss had been lying to me for a straight 6 months, I think it was at that point, about giving me access to an aeroplane. And I was really struggling with being there in the first place. So my professionalism slipped and I left a torch. Actually, sort of an LED light about this long in the engine bay of an aeroplane, and the guys who closed it up didn't notice it was there because they should have looked around, and the boss who was rushing us out, he didn't oversee us properly either. So it's one of those things that can happen with light aeroplanes, but not. Is it here? Is it here? Oh no! Oh. It's really nice to have a visual aid. I found a torch that's this big, a snap-on torch, in somebody's control box. Now, in an airplane it goes upside down. The controls are a little bit more sophisticated, and they have a box, to keep foreign debris out. So, because if you're pulling on the old joystick and suddenly the elevator don't move because there's a spanner stuck in it from the previous engineer, it's a bit. So they put it in a box. Inside this fucking box, when I take it apart to service the airplane, is somebody's torch. Thank God it was magnetic. Okay, anyway, but I'm an autist, and when I fill in a job application, they never give me the fucking interview because I can't do that. When I try and write my CV, it just doesn't work. I can't communicate in that way. It does translate to the workplace. You have to give me the most simple of forms and accountability over what I've done, and accept fairly poor performance delivered by somebody who's really stressed about having to do that shit. But if you can deal with that, and many employers have, I don't know, you just meet some employers that instinctively know how to deal with something like me. Not very often, but when you do, my God, it's a great place to work. Of course, then they get taken over. I mean, I live in England. Every single fucking industry we've had has been dismantled since the 1980s. Everybody I know has had a checkered work career, and and I'm an autist. But eventually I did contracting. I thought, bugger this, there is no such thing as a permanent job, I might as well be a contractor. Plus, I don't have to put up with anybody's shit for longer than 13 weeks. The average contractor. And believe me, there's nothing better than delivering your best fucking work to a bunch of arseholes, and they go, right, can you stay on? And you go, no thank you. Even if you ain't got a job, it don't fucking matter. It just isn't worth working for people who are, I don't know what the word is. It's like a sort of, they got a rapacious approach to the job. They just don't have any humanity about them. I do meet that in the workplace quite often because unfortunately our entire society appears to be structured that way. But that just might be because I'm an autist. I don't know. What I do know is that I got I did my paper on the 21st of June, and it is now the God knows what of October. It took until the 12th of September, with me badgering the CCGA and the surgery, for them to hook up the two pieces of paper. I was told the process initially would take 3 months. Now I've been told it could take anywhere up to 9 months. And this is, as far as I mean, they're not even telling me. Yeah, they're telling me I'm funded. And they're telling me that I'm going to be handed off, I think, to somebody. But not for. They don't give you anything to do. I'm like in a limbo, which in fact is, you know, one of the bad things about things, really. For a while I was buoyed up. I thought, fuck me, I'm an autist. Now I can go into the workplace, and if anybody gives it, because people do, of course, people, when they spot that difference, there's always a bully, isn't there? And that person with the difference, he's, ooh, oh, the bully can't wait to, well, anyway. Actually, I think I have actually seen a workplace bully doing this with his hand, but I digress. The point is, I've had a lot of shit that I really, really didn't deserve, but on a few occasions, I really did get my own back. Because although I stopped stealing, I did become dedicated to the concept of not being fucked over anymore. My dad taught me that, really. By the time I was 18, I was now no longer stealing, I was fixing things, I tried a variety of work things. I failed my maths O-level, I was never very good at maths, so I had to go back part-time to college to do that. So I did a bit of work in the woodyard, I was a chemist, a paint chemist. Oh, I ran my bike off the solvent, so you know, I can make my own fuel, it was lovely. Never did explosives, funny enough. Always wanted to, never done it because, well, nowadays the rules are so draconian, you know, you just go and buy some weed and like the next thing you know is the SAS Special Bastard Squad are kicking out. And I'm an autist, I'm not very good at communicating, so I just don't want the police in my life. Actually, I've been remarkably lucky because not only did I stop stealing, but I realised that whatever was wrong with me, so I didn't know I was an autist, all I knew is that I did some fucking stupid shit, and I'm quite brave as well sometimes. Some people see me, you know, snooping and coward in the right circumstances. I don't really handle people fucking, you know, getting in my face and giving me some of this, you know. But nevertheless, I can be a bit brave, and I could go that way, you know. I you know, breaking the rules it's a bit attractive, and I don't know why. So, what I learnt was this: do exciting shit that's dangerous to you and not to other people. Number one. And I got away with it. God, I could ride a motorbike when I was a kid, and I don't think I ever ran the police, but I seem to be able to avoid them most of the time as well, which was very good. And unfortunately, I couldn't avoid falling off them, but I could fall off them really fucking well. I've fallen off motorbikes more than anybody else I know. 0 broken bones. Got myself a little bit of a mark on there, but I did break the A-frame of a Mini with it. Yeah, after that, no, I'd like to say I slowed down, but I didn't. If the policeman who stopped me doing 119, a considerable while ago now, and was kind enough to let me on my way, is watching this, I really want to thank you, because you could have just broken my life for that. And the truth of the matter is, I've done it so much for so long that I can do that speed now. I can do 120 miles an hour under certain circumstances and certain bits of road, and absolutely guarantee, providing the fucking wheels don't fall off, to not hurt anybody, not inconvenience anybody, probably not even be seen, which is the best really, because then you definitely get away with it. But I don't recommend that anybody else do this, because I worked my apprenticeship through the 1970s, when motorcyclists were being cut down like chaff in a field, I suppose. And I was one of the few that got through that without broken legs, and yeah, I know people with legs missing, arms missing, all sorts of stuff, because when the accident happened to them, and this seems to be a common thing, when the accident happened to them, they didn't keep looking for the way out. Now I'm telling you this is motorcycling 101. If you're having a fucking accident, if you can see one developing, just keep working the problem. Keep working the problem while you're lying on the floor. Don't get the fuck up straight away. Figure out how much you're still working, you know, so, and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, because you can make yourself worse if you've just fallen off a motorbike at 50 miles an hour and just gone through a minute's windscreen. I didn't. I fucking found I was alright, but I don't know. I just seem to have been either preposterously lucky or preposterously strong, or yeah, fuck me. I've had autism. I had some luck as well. But I've got to this point without seriously hurting anybody. And I've almost got to this point without hurting anybody at all, as far as I can tell. And that is due to Christianity. Because when I was from about 6 to 13, morass of what the hell do I do now? I thought, well, I mean, everybody was going on about, the Bible in them days. You get taught, don't you, and all that sort of stuff. And I was taught that Jesus Christ lived a pretty darn good life. That he was, in fact, I was taught a lot of things about Jesus Christ, but the one fundamental thing that came across to me as an autism is that the guy sort of walked around, didn't do any harm, made things better for everybody that he came across, and generally got fucked up for it at the end by the nasty people. And that's not how I want to go, but the first part sounded brilliant. Go around, don't do any harm, make people's lives better. What could be a better thing to aspire to than that? So I took Christianity on board, on and off, quite hard really. Now, I mean, me and God have had a lot of discussions, and I don't even know if God exists. And the people who are against Christianity, they make really good arguments on an intellectual level. They make powerful arguments, and it is hard. Christianity is definitely unpopular in some quarters, and I don't shout about it. I don't go to church. I don't even wear a cross or any of that sort of stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I just periodically, when I can be bothered, go and interact with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because they've always got a lesson to teach you, haven't they? And or go and pick up my Bible and have a bit of look about, refresh my memory about what Jesus was doing, that sort of stuff, and just keep trying to live that good life, because I realised that I didn't naturally seem to be, that's autism. You're not naturally good. In fact, because everything's confusing to you, it's really fucking annoying. That's the thing. You people think us autists are annoying. I'm telling you straight. I can't see a fucking thing. Autism is absolutely fucking annoying to have. Things that should make sense don't make sense. You can make a plan to do things right and it just blows up in your face. You completely misjudge the people. Anything to do with people is poison. Me, I like cats and machines. I do cats and machines. Cats are always fucking honest. You always know what's going on in a cat's mind, and it's quite a lot. And my last cat could give me 7 different instructions. The human-cat relationship is fundamentally based on the cat's needs. We all know that. But it can sometimes become based on the human's needs. Because, like, for example, we have a particularly unpleasant cat. I mean, it's about 4 years old now. For the first 3 years of his life, he bloody didn't like me at all. She was for love, I was for violence. He wanted me to play with him, right, and he was happy for me to feed him and shit like that, but any lap time, no. Anything else but a bite or a claw, no. And when I've done my chores, he'd just turn around and walk away, like, discarding a wet paper towel. I put up with this for 3 years. But then, I went away. A week or so, I think, we went to Germany, I don't know, but I went away. When I came back, it was a different cat, because he suddenly realised just how fucking brilliant I am. Because I know a bit about cats. and I've been looking after him. And well, anyway, I find myself shortly before June this year having a very bad depressive episode, and the other half is away in Germany, and I'm at home on my own with the cat, and I'm rendered fairly inert, and I'm lying down a lot, and I'm not crying or any of that sort of bollocks, but I just don't want to do anything. Everything tastes like shit. It's in terms of when you don't want to play with your quadcopters, or you just you know you're in trouble. So I'm doing my very best to be nice to the pussycat, and just make sure that despite feeling like I don't want to do anything, I make sure that I service his basic needs. What I noticed is he stopped going out, and he's got like a little igloo thing sort of at the bottom of the sofa, which is about as close as he could stand being to me. But he was there all the bloody time, and they're like that, cats. If you get any sort of friendship with them, they do try and look after you in their own little way. And yeah, that's a nice thing. I mean, now it's different, so it's sort of, we have a different thing going on altogether. Many of the little rituals have now become quite joyful, and he's got far more things that he asks me for, and he's discovered Ready Steady Go. That is fucking funny, because he's always liked, well, I do this, you see, because in truth I used to worry about him, because this one ranges further than our other cats did, and I know when they range further they get run over. Now, what many people don't know is you can train cats to not get run over. But I think this monologue has actually gone on far longer than I thought it would. It's supposed to be about autism, not cats. Well, I think I might have given you a bit of a flavour of what it's like to be autistic and to talk about it. What I would like is society to give me a bit more bloody... You see, I don't know. The thing about these consultant people, and or people with letters after their names, is that they're all... I could use the vulgar phrase, but no. In reality, they've gone through a long path, overcome many obstacles, and worked very hard to get where they are. And it's very easy when you're like that to think it's, well, I know everything. And that's great. But none of them ever told me I was bloody autistic. And I went to a psychologist when I was struggling with life when I was 23, chiefly as my lack of girls. Oh God. Funny enough, I was popular with the ladies as an infant, as a young boy. Indeed, I think at the age of 6, I actually got in trouble for kissing, no, I better not say her name, too passionately outside the headmistress's office, well, in view of the headmistress's office. I don't fucking know, but yeah, we've just been watching a lot of films with us, wondering what it was all about. But then, oh yes, when I hit puberty, that's when I hit peak dislikability. And some girls actually tried to befriend me. But because of the sex thing, which I was feeling very strong, and because I was just utterly fucked up in the head, and I don't do empathy very well, I've got an awful lot of learned empathy now. And I've had rare instances where I've just looked at somebody's situation, just wanted to help them. I don't know if that's what empathy is. In fact, I've had quite a lot of that, really. I do want to help people. And it's not entirely out of a trying to find relevance, because of course trying to find relevance is a bit of a problem sometimes as an autist. I'll tell you what I did do though. I did be nice to my child. My child did not have an upbringing like me. They say that sort of abuse, it sort of goes through families. Fucking stopped here. More or less. As I've gone through life, I taught my daughter to be as cynical as me in some things. I taught her the things that life had taught me. And I don't know whether I did right by her or not. But I know one thing, I was able to almost never be annoyed with her. The only time I ever shouted at her, quite frankly, was completely for safety reasons. Unfortunately, when a 4-year-old is jabbering at you as you're negotiating a difficult island, well, did I mention ADD? All I'm going to say is that for me, driving safely, it's something I've really had to work at. I mean, really had to work at. I've got 0 incidents or accidents since... incidents, we count incidents, don't we? Think about 2007, because I had a transit van and I backed into a skip, and that's an incident, isn't it? I could have run over a toddler if I'm that fucking attentive. I also managed to back in a state car around about that time into a lamppost. But in my defence, that was peak depression time. I was actually considering getting myself. As it happened, the rave scene saved my life, because I really was thinking of killing myself. And when I'm getting really, really depressed, yeah, sort of, when somebody says, "Do you want to come down to a rave?" and I made it I tried ecstasy just after my child was born. Fucking great, no problem. But it changes the way your brain works, and I found it made things that I found previously intolerable appealing. And I just didn't like that level of change. Although it seemed to be temporary, I still didn't want to apply that sort of change to my brain. So that was the end of ecstasy for me, really. Lovely experience, feels fucking great, but I think it fucks you up. And I think it fucks you up in a particularly bad way. Of course, sometime later I tried Prozac, prescribed by the old doctor, and I found it, well, you know, sort of, there's something the way the serotonin works in my brain that I don't think, well, I'm neuroatypical, but it don't work the way. Every time the fucking doctor tries to give me an SSRI, they tell me what it's going to do, and it don't work that way. So, and the last one I tried, well, I don't know. The last time I followed through on a fart, I was in my 20s. And I took this stuff, and suddenly everything went really screwy with my body. Now I had a period of violent, well, you know, really, oh no, I'd walked about 12 miles in high summer heat. Yeah, it was a bit of an ordeal. You know, I'm not that young. And until my ever-loving daughter rescued me. And no, that's it really. I think I've taught myself out, and that's long enough for a first blog, isn't it? It just remains from me. No, I might never do this again. Just let me go and put the kettle on. Kettle, you say? No, I'm sure that I have to get up and get it in there. It's autism. It's what's for breakfast. Talking of breakfast, that can't be too far away. It's 3:30 in the morning. I don't get sleep disturbances. I can sleep whenever the heck I want to. But when my girlfriend goes to bed and the cat leaves me alone, then I get time to really think about things. Although I'm not much of a doer, in fact, I've had way too much time to think. I've tried to keep my thinking healthy. I've looked at lots of life's problems, and I've applied the same logic that has helped me function as a pilot, as an aircraft engineer, as a field service person, as an electronics technician, as a father, as a... Never been a husband, actually. I always wanted to get married. It's not... But I never wanted to be divorced, because my dad was divorced, and then I got the evil stepmother. I guess that's what that's all about. So I never got married, because I could never quite guarantee, I never met anybody I could guarantee I wasn't going to divorce her after 3 months. And I thought, yeah, you've got to give it you've got to give it a couple of months, really. Of course, that's not how it's supposed to work. What's supposed to happen, traditionally, in the way that it used to be, is that you're supposed to meet somebody, you get that infatuation thing, you fall in love with them, give them an engagement ring, and you shag furiously, and then get married sometime later and have kids. Bingo! But they were dismantling all that when I hit my fucking... Plus, of the few traditional girls, I had no job. I was a weirdo. I was... I smoked... I took drugs. I rode motorbikes. It was like sort of... I just wasn't a good person. Although in truth, if you were ever lying on the side of the road, there's a more than good chance that I'll come and pick you up, because I did a fair... if I saw anybody needing any help, as a motorcyclist, it's easy. You can just pull the thing in there and go and render assistance. You can't do it in a car, really. You've got to know that they need help to bother stopping a car. But motorbikes, they make it easy to help people. You also, if you either have a spare helmet or don't really care about the law and can, nip away your helmet, you can take people, you can pick people up. They're great things, motorbikes. You don't need a fucking parking space. At a pinch, you can stick it on the pavement. Okay, so some mean-minded official might give you a parking ticket, but you just... No, I can't. The law prevents me from telling you the correct thing to do with parking tickets. It's been a hard life. I've spent most of it just trying to stay out of trouble. But unfortunately, I've also spent most of it not gainfully employed, not using the skills I've got. Did I mention, when I was 8, I could fix a radio by looking at it. Nobody ever used it, really. Yeah, the aircraft people did use it, because what in practice that meant is that I was able to go into... I've always been able to do this. I'm going to completely unfamiliar technological environments, and providing people are willing to be base level helpful, I'll pick it up real quick. And more importantly, I seem to be able to make a contribution. The NHS thing, you've got... Well, what actually happened was, I'm supposed to be installing software. Simple as. Did I mention I find it difficult to get work? Well, it had taken me, let me just try and get this right, I think it was 3 or 4 years of concerted applications with my own hand, and I finally got an IT contract. But the lowest rate I've ever been offered. Going out and installing software in NHS computers, round about where I live, excuse my stomach. So I think, great, I got some work, I got it myself. God, I have to beg. They made me jump through all sorts of hoops I've never been through before. Normally they just pick you up, you get a telephone interview, they find out if you can do a thing, and then you turn up and go and do a damn good job. No, this was loads of asking of questions and background and all that sort of bollocks. And I suppose they're working for the NHS. Eventually I turned up with this team of people who go there to go and... Now the computers aren't there. And we were lucky, as it turned out. Some people found none. So anyway, we go to the backup site, and half the computers aren't there as well. This is Monday, so we leave early. Tuesday we turn up, we go to the next site. There are 3 computers out of 40 or something like this, in places. And we can't find the machines that we're supposed to put the software on. Because computers, right, your computer in a business environment, somebody counts them. They don't just plonk them on the desk and leave them with you. They put a little asset label on them, and somebody keeps a tag of them. And on that tag, the asset tag might say 1226, and when you look it up on the computer, it says, Mr. J. Blogg's paediatrics department, whatever. It tells you where this damn computer is. So they've given us these lists based on these numbers, and it tells you where the computer is, its IP address on the network, and a few things about it, and where it should be in the building, but they fucking ain't there. And Tuesday passes even quicker than Monday. And we all go home, and I start to worry about my contract because I have fought for this one. And I really need work. I need money like everybody else. And I don't steal. I don't do any crime. It's just I'm thinking about this. So I've got a real good knowledge of the law, and I think that statement's true. I am naughty. I do get away with stuff.